me see, can you find that file there, Stephen? Michael Gallagher called and we're done at the moment. Find a house there. One new house then. Heavy in there. How are you, Anna and Princess? No topic for today. I'm just experimenting. Just trying something. Next week, now I have a topic. All right, next Wednesday, I'm doing a live stream on property. Ask anything about property. So that's the story next week. Next Wednesday, 4 o'clock. I might do a regular enough live stream every week. I might give it a go and see, just for the fun. Good experiments are interesting, absolutely. Hi, Wizik and Princess. Yeah, might do it next. It's the next Wednesday. I have one anyway. It's ask about property or anything about property. Wizik, how often are barristers instructed in tort law cases? I'm a law student. Barristers will do an awful lot of tort law, obviously. Tort being a civil wrong, so any negligence claim and any many types of tort cases that are inevitably going to involve barristers and being instructed and so on. Making a living though as a barrister is a tough job. And the reason is very simple. I can get clients from the general public, whereas barrister must get clients from solicitors and must get instructed by solicitors. So that's a huge, huge problem unless you've got good contacts and so on. So that's something that you need to consider. Seventh of April. 7th of April. I asked you in previous session advice for a newly qualified solicitor career in this climate. You said not a job, matters. Can you please elaborate on that? Just obviously things are difficult at the moment with the COVID situation, and it's going to be no different for solicitors or barristers or anybody else. But a positive attitude clearly is important, vitally important in any profession, any trade, any industry, any business. So that's what I mean about having a positive attitude. It's easy to blame other people and blame outside circumstances and so on, but how you choose to respond to your circumstances is absolutely critical. And that's what I mean by attitude. And I was asked actually the other day about a book. Would I recommend a classic book? And one book that I actually forgot about was Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl's thesis from having been in the concentration camps and losing his family and so on and so forth in the concentration camps was that we get to choose not our circumstances, but how we respond to our circumstances. So that's vitally important. Thomas Flanagan, were you at LYIT? I wasn't able to attend the lecture. I did a lecture there last week, Thomas, or the week before. I think it was last week, or maybe the week before. And it went very well. Cormac Conaghan and Nancy invited me to do a presentation or do a talk about the WRC, which I did, and it went well. I think it was fairly well received. WYSIC, free as in available. I'm not sure what you're referring to. How often? Do solicitors just instruct whoever's free, or do they choose favourites? Because I do want to become a barrister. That's a difficulty. I'm not really sure. I mean, obviously, every barrister, or every solicitor rather, is going to choose who they believe is the best person for the job, whether that's a fella or a girl, and whether they're experienced or inexperienced, and so on. There will be particular areas of law that a solicitor will say that's particularly suited to such and such an individual because of his strengths or her strengths, and likewise something may require a different approach or a different skill set. For example, some barristers will be very, very good with the papers and turning them around very, very quickly and perhaps preparing submissions. Other barristers might be far better on their feet, so it will depend on the situation and on the circumstances. Would you recommend a solicitor for a medical negligence case? I wouldn't. I don't know, Anna, to be honest with you, so I'll have to just say I don't know about that one. No, it's not appropriate to ask me. Well, it is. You can ask me if you want, but I wouldn't touch it, to be honest with you. It really wouldn't be my bag, wouldn't have the experience, and wouldn't take on that sort of responsibility. Granted, they're all responsible, all the cases that we might take on, but I don't know any off the top of my head. Obviously, there is some high-profile medical negligence lawyers out there, including the gentleman who has handled a lot of those cancer cases, the cervical cancer and so forth. But I wouldn't really be all that well up on the likes of medical negligence. Not something I'd be that I do, quite frankly. So that's the bottom line. Is that in elms of flexibility? I'm not really sure what you're asking there, Princess. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but general or in terms of flexibility. Yeah, I mean, not just flexibility, but your overall response to circumstances and your overall response to things and your overall attitude. I mean, some people have a good attitude and some people have a positive attitude and some people get knocked down and pick themselves back up again. Other people whinge, quite frankly, and blame other people and blame the government, blame the banks, blame the economy, blame next door neighbours, blame whoever, and other people just get on with it. So that's what I mean by attitude. K. Cahill, Terry, how do you buy a residential farm? With a buttload of money, K. Cahill. Mortgage, commercial loan, mortgage on house and commercial loan, the land, thanks. Depends whether you are going to live in the place or not. Obviously, if you're going to live in the place, I suppose you'd be looking to borrow as much as you can at a residential rate. But I suppose it's down to the bank there. Yeah, it's slightly different. If you're buying a shop or buying a mixed residential stroke commercial property, then you're probably looking at realistically not a home loan, but you're probably looking at a commercial loan, and likewise you're probably looking at a commercial loan for that type of situation where you're looking for at a residential farm. But again, it's down to the lender and it's down to doing the deal, making a deal, making terms, etc. So is there a big difference between a barrister and a solicitor? Thomas Flanagan is asking. There is a big difference insofar as a solicitor like me can hustle and grind and get clients from the general public, and we draft wills and we take instructions from the general public and we do what we can, whereas a barrister must take instructions from a solicitor. So that's the difficulty there. Now I'm going to end this stream because I'm going to be getting my lunch now shortly at 1 o'clock. This is a slight experiment. WYSIC. If I were to go the solicitor route, I've heard of solicitor advocates and full rights of audience. Which types of solicitors appear frequently in the lower courts? A solicitor can appear in any court in the land, including the Supreme Court. Has a right of audience, so that's the situation with solicitors. They can appear anywhere. Obviously, solicitors will appear in the lower courts as well, especially the district court and so on, but you'd have to make a judgment about how cost effective it is to be sitting around all day, perhaps, or waiting around all day. in the district court, hoping for or looking for your case to come on, be called on, and so on. And it can be difficult striking a balance between, on the one hand, generating a lot of clients and a lot of work on a given day, and on the other hand, putting in the hours, sitting in the district court for perhaps one case where your client might have been done for speeding or might have been done for drink driving or whatever. And I mean, if it's a guilty plea, you're going to be looking at 1 day or 2 days out, and that's it. And it can be hard to make it pay in those circumstances. I hope you can hear me okay, can you? Good stuff. You can hear me. Okay, I'm going to go for my lunch now. I'm going to close her up. Thanks for joining me. Okay, good stuff. Anyway, next Wednesday, 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, I'm going to do a question and answers about property, anything to do with property, residential, commercial. I'll try and answer questions and obviously draw upon my experience, etc., etc. But if you're thinking of buying a house, buying a property, buying a commercial, etc., any questions, next Wednesday, 4 o'clock here, live stream. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you have a good weekend, all right?